Alright guys, welcome to the Switched On Stream podcast with us, the Switched On squad. I'm Brennan Hoof, that's Pomster. Say hello, bro.
G'day.
Alright, straight into it this week. Although, one thing I do have to mention. If you are enjoying the podcast, please go and jump over onto Patreon. This whole podcast is supported by them. And yeah, realistically, somehow we've got to make a bit of a living out of this, so if you guys enjoy our content, please jump over there and support us on Patreon. On there, we are going to be posting every video that we do, not just the podcast stuff, but all our YouTube stuff on there as well, which you'll get everything ad-free. And we are now up on, what are we on? Amazon and Google.
Yeah.
We are live on there. Google takes a little bit longer to go through. So they're almost nearly a week behind for some reason. I'll have to look into why that is, but it takes a while to go through for them. All right, straight in onto some stuff. Some kind of gaming news, but not really at the same time. Magic the Gathering have announced their expansion packs for the first two and the first of the back half of next year. And they are going to be Fallout, Assassin's Creed, and Final Fantasy.
Yeah. It's I think they need to do more of this stuff, to be honest. Magic the Gathering is always going to have its loyal fan base, but if they want to expand that, then I think they need to do more things like this.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, the Lord of the Rings one was very popular, and the Doctor Who one comes out very soon, which I'm about to go and pre-order the four. I don't even think what they're called because I don't really collect them, but the master deck type things that they do,
right?
Commander decks. Yeah, they've got 4 of those coming out. They've got one for the first 8 Doctors, one for, what is it? 9, 10, and 11. One for 13 and 14, or 12 and 14, sorry. 12 and 13. I will get things out properly eventually. And one for villains.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to get those and put those in some acrylic boxes and put them around somewhere in here. So
Hard to keep track of this stuff anyway. I don't blame you.
And also, hang on, that way. You can see I have not fixed up my lights yet. I have spent the week playing Cyberpunk.
I noticed.
I went through and started a new one and finished it. And that game is still buggy as all hell.
Yeah, right. Really?
Yeah. I mean,
are you playing the PS5 version now, or are you still?
Started with the PS4 version.
Yeah.
And noticed there was a lot of graphical issues still with it.
Yeah.
And it crashed once or twice. I thought, you know what? I'll go download the PS5 version and get it for free and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still getting a lot of graphical issues. I was getting input issues where like stuff just wouldn't work. So you've got like your scanning that you can do with your optics that one day just decided it wasn't going to work. If I pressed it, it would show up like the doors and everything, like I'd used the scan.
Mm-hmm.
But then nothing would actually change. Like I couldn't scan for the tarot cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
So then I'd have to reboot. And like I said, I probably still had the game crash across both versions, PS4 and PS5, 10, 15 times throughout the playthrough.
That's incredible. I've played a little bit of the PS5 version when it was on free trial a few months ago.
Yeah.
It was probably a while ago now, maybe over a year actually. But yeah, I didn't have any issues, and their PS5 port of Witcher 3 runs great. Um, I played tens of hours on their
Yep.
PS5 port of Witcher 3, and no crashes, no glitches or anything that I've noticed whatsoever. So, yeah, they got something really wrong with Cyberpunk, and they haven't been able to fix it by the
Well,
sounds of it.
from everything I've heard, that they'd pretty much fixed everything that they needed to fix, and for the most part, you know, it still ran pretty well. I mean, I think I put 35, 40 hours into this playthrough.
Yeah, okay.
Put in, I went through like pretty much every side mission that was there. Went through all the main missions. And yeah, I was just underwhelmed.
I mean, a crash every 2 to 3 hours is really not ideal.
No, no, it's really not. Your lighting just changed. Oh, there you go.
My screen just went on screensaver.
Yeah, so it's disappointing, especially with the DLC coming out this week. Not this week, this month. And yeah, don't really know what else to say on that. That's obviously we knew the game was hit and miss story wise, and that did underwhelm. But the controls, everything like that, everything felt pretty good. Better than it did when I played it the first time, where I went, holy crap, this feels like a 2013 game.
Yeah.
It feels more up to date now.
Right.
And less clunky.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if I was still reviewing that now, it'd still only get a 7 out of 10. So not ideal.
Yeah, perhaps that game suffered a bit too much from its own hype.
And speaking of games and companies that seem to get a lot of hype and fail to deliver in recent times, Rockstar and Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
So obviously we saw some little leaks here and there over the last few weeks about a Red Dead Redemption coming out. Everyone assumed it was going to be a remake or a remaster, one of the two. And boy, were we let.
Yeah, I saw this in the PlayStation Store before I actually had seen any of the news about it.
We lost. We lost your sound for a moment there.
Right. So yeah, I actually saw this in the PlayStation Store before I saw any of the news about it, and I was a bit confused at first, noticing that it was only a PS4 version, and yeah, I then looked it up and realized that no, this was correct. They had just done a PS4 port that is PS5 compatible, essentially, or next gen compatible if you're on Xbox. But they basically put no effort into this. It's really just a port. Yeah. Can't hear you.
What is going on?
There we go. We're back.
Yeah, it's like your camera and your sound were out of sync.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting the same thing with you, so I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know whether that's your connection or what. But
Yeah, it could be one or the other. So we're
obviously
going to have to apologise for any technical issues that happened during this stream. Yeah, so I mean, obviously they didn't do one for Xbox because of backwards compatibility. They've only done the PS4 port because backwards compatibility, so it's going to work on PS5. Um,
They did a Switch version, didn't they?
oh yeah, and obviously the Switch version.
Yeah.
Um, would would they would it have been a remaster if it wasn't for the GTA trilogy? Do you think?
I would have thought that they should have learnt better from what happened with the GTA trilogy. Um, to be honest, I mean, I suppose on the one hand they've gotten out of the potential backlash of doing a remake or a proper remaster rather that
Yeah,
goes wrong, like they did with the GTA trilogy, in running it through a new engine and all of the problems that they had with that, with it being really rushed and poorly done. But a port is probably even worse given how much they're charging for it, because it's really nothing different. And
no,
I believe the original game had trophies on PS3, so really the only added value is that you can play it on your new console, saves you getting out your PlayStation 3, I suppose.
yeah.
And that you can earn trophies again, which really just, it's that, to me that's not really adding a significant amount of value.
Do you think a remake's likely?
I don't see why not. I mean, I think a lot of fans of that series would probably say that the story of the first game is a little bit better than the second, and that, if any games of that era are deserving of a remake, it's probably Red Dead Redemption 1.
True. Very true. I mean, Rockstar haven't really gone down the track of doing remakes and remasters much. Now, obviously, we've got the GTA trilogy, which we know was a bit of a flop. Um, they seem to have learnt their lesson a little bit there with, I think, is it Max Payne that's coming that they're redoing.
I think so.
That they've found a company that sort of specializes in, or that is doing well in that space of remaking and remastering
Mm,
games, and have sort of handed them the IP and said, "Here,
yeah,
like you guys go for it." Um, so if for me, if they're going to remake it, that's probably the way they're going to go, and hopefully the way they go
I think
to
part of
make it
the
worthwhile.
problem is that they have the original versions on PC that still run great, and
Mm,
we saw this with the GTA trilogy as well, um, and people have done great mods for them and so on and so forth. To do a remake then for console, but also make it competitive or better than what is available on PC is
yeah,
really tricky. Whereas games that were always kind of exclusive to console, say for example the Crash Bandicoot games that were remade or the Spyro games, etc., I think there's a more of a case to be made for those games being brought forward to the modern era.
yeah, yeah, and yeah. Hopefully, we see something in the near future with with that side of things,
Mm.
because I mean that story definitely needs to be retold and in a better way than this. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
it's such a great game.
Now, the reason I'm wearing this is I have a costume party tonight, which is why we won't be doing a normal FIFA stream for a Friday night. Which also means that's a Friday night knocked off me making 550 goals.
Mm.
That's a problem. Might have to see if we can squeeze it in another night.
Yeah.
Um, but this is my Brock costume from Pokemon. And this week we had a Pokemon Direct. Did you see much about this?
I didn't know. Tell us about it.
Well, there's not a lot to tell, really. I mean, we got the reveal for the two DLCs for Scarlet and Violet, which we already knew about. We got this trailer for Mew and Mewtwo coming into Scarlet and Violet, which you can go and grab Mew now until September 18th with the code GetYourMew. And Mewtwo will be coming later in the year, I think October or November, via Terra Raids, which is a horrible idea because nobody plays Terra Raids. Nobody does them. They're just, ugh. We got a reveal for Detective Pikachu 2 and a release date.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say a reveal. They announced this game back in 2019 and we just haven't got any news for it since. But yeah, October 6th is Detective Pikachu 2 for that game. There was some stuff about the anime and the new one, Pokemon Horizons. Obviously, that's carrying on after Ash has now left. A few other little bits and pieces. I think there's an anime based on the trading card game, which is going to be the first episode, or it's going to be shown at the World Championships.
Yep.
And Pokemon Go's getting the Palladium region Pokemon next month. So, not a huge amount. Very average and lower end of the average type of reveal show for Pokemon, which, a little bit disappointing. They did relate well that there was, I'm trying to think off the top of my head what it was now. There was some of the original Pokemon games going onto the Nintendo Switch online. Don't even remember what it's called. Their version of Game Pass and Pokemon Plus that you got to pay that extra for. But they're not the games that everyone wants. They're not the original games. It's like Pokemon Stadium 2 and one of the puzzle games that they released for it. So, again, just a whole lot of absolute nothingness, really. Nintendo dropping the ball a little bit on doing these directs. I mean, they're short, they're sweet, but the more that we seem to get, the less we seem to get in terms of content.
Yeah. Do you think they're potentially worried about undermining their own Pokemon sales in a way?
I really don't know. I mean, they're not too worried about stepping on their own toes in that case, or in that sense, I should say. We saw that, was it last year, where we had 3 new Pokemon games all come out in the same year.
Yeah, true.
We had Pokemon Legends Arceus, the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and then obviously Scarlet and Violet as well. So, 3 different pillars in the Pokemon game region, all having releases in the same year. So, I don't think they're quite too concerned about that. I mean, sales are always going to sell with Pokemon. It's, I think, the second best-selling franchise in the world.
Yeah.
I think it's Hello Kitty. So
I think that's right.
It's, in saying that, one of the newer Pokemon. Now, I'm a massive Pokemon fan, and I can't even remember what it's called. I think it's Wiglet, which is kind of a water and ground type version of Diglett for the Palladium region.
Right.
They released a plush version of this toy. Now, you remember how Diglett kind of looks like a little turd pushing through the ground?
Yeah.
Well, this is a big white, long, dick-looking thing that comes out the ground. Now, with a red bit on top. Imagine what that looks like as a plush toy. It is borderline not safe for work. It really is. It's
Oh dear.
yeah. Go anybody watching, listening, go look that up because yeah, and that if you like us and follow a lot of gaming stuff and geek news around on the internet, you may have already seen it because I've seen it pop up several times between Google and Facebook over the last few days. Um, moving on, we had Evo last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously came with a few announcements. The new Mortal Kombat 1 trailer was dropped.
Yep.
Which that game, I don't remember a time when Mortal Kombat had so much hype. That game is just gaining traction, and all of these trailers look fantastic.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think they're doing a great job with the Mortal Kombat franchise at the moment, or in the last couple of years.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 like reinvented the franchise as far as I'm concerned in the way it looked, the way it felt, grabbing audiences' attention. You know, it really reinvigorated the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And yet this one just looks to take it another step further. Much in the way that Street Fighter has with that series, with Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
You know, 4 and 5 and their Ultimate Editions and all that, they promised to be so much, and over time they started to get there.
Yeah.
But then when this one dropped, it was everything that everyone had wanted from a Street Fighter game.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that Mortal Kombat almost hit that point with 11, and now from everything we've seen, seems to be that way with this one. So I'm real excited. I've already got it on pre-order. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. In saying that, Street Fighter 6, they've announced a collaboration
Oh yeah.
with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yep, it would, until you hear that it's not a full crossover. They're
Oh
not
yeah.
playable. They're not playable characters.
Oh no. Dropped the ball there.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a sense, it does make sense in terms of marketing for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to do this sort of stuff. You know, they've got a couple of games in the works. One that I'm real excited about, which is based on The Last Ronin, which that game's going to be unreal. And it kind of makes sense to stick with the Street Fighter way of doing things by not really having outsiders come in as playable characters. So what these are going to be are emotes
Mm-hmm.
that you can use that then basically your character then sort of cosplays into that character.
Yeah.
Whichever one, Mikey, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael, and like eats pizza and stuff like that in those costumes. So it's a little bit cool. It's a great way to do a bit of collaboration without having to do like the full playable characters. Let's face it, if it's a playable skin that you could actually play in, I didn't look too much into it and didn't see too much. It's got to be better than last week's Chun-Li. Really, doesn't it?
I mean, still though, it just begs the question: why didn't they try to make them playable characters?
Um, it depends on Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
Is
it
Warner
might have been a
Brothers that own them?
licensing issue, I guess, but
Can't remember if it's Warner Brothers that owns them. It might be Hasbro. Um, But yeah, I think it'll come down to a licensing thing. It was only a few years ago we saw him turn up in Injustice, so there might still be something there.
Mm-hmm.
Might have also been a money thing.
Yeah,
And
quite possibly.
Capcom aren't known for. Hang on, no, it is Capcom. Sorry, I started double guessing myself halfway through the sentence. Yeah, so Capcom aren't really known for bringing outside stuff into Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And they don't need to because they've got the Marvel versus Capcom games
Yeah.
that, that kind of fill in that gap. So, yeah. On another bit of news that came out of Evo, though, the mayor of Vegas came into the grounds and went through and gave the key to the city to the organisers.
Right.
And declared August the 6th Evo Day. Which is going to be quite awkward because Evo doesn't happen on the same day every year. Or the same weekend for that matter. Next year it's held in July. It's not even in the same month. He was not thinking, well, see, I don't even know if it was male or female, but they were not thinking when they declared that at all.
No. Doesn't seem like it. Is this mayor a gamer? Are they fairly young?
I don't know, to be honest. I got this piece of news from another site. So much of it I was quite ill over the weekend and injured from soccer, so I didn't do much moving from the sofa. But yeah, I mean they're obviously quite proud of this. I mean, it's a huge event.
Yeah, but Vegas is
Fighting
a
game.
place that gets heaps of events all the time.
Yeah, but this is. How many worldwide events do they get outside of, say, boxing and UFC?
I imagine that. I don't know. I've never been there, but I imagine Vegas gets heaps of conventions all the time.
I mean, I know of a few, but they're not really safe for work. But yeah, honestly I don't know, but I know this is a big global event. Like it's huge, and like every fighting game tournament has something there. Obviously this year was the first year with Street Fighter 6. It's also going to be the last year with Mortal Kombat 11 and probably Tekken as well. So, we're obviously having the new Tekken coming at some point over the next 12 months. So it's a really big event.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know you're not huge on your fighting games, but
Just not good at them.
I
enjoyed them as a kid.
Yeah, well, I'm not very good at them either, but I enjoy playing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is a pretty cool thing, even though it wasn't very well thought out. What else have we got for today? What else? Oh, Modern Warfare 3 got a release date. Official sort of, yes, it's definitely happening.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, they redid the other two, so you'd expect the third one to be coming, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be this year, though.
I think it's easy to lose track with Call of Duty games because there are so many Call of Duty games and they come out fairly regularly. You kind of lose track of when they were, but Modern Warfare 2, it has actually...
last year.
Yeah. But it was early last year, wasn't it?
It was still October.
Was it?
I think so.
Right. Regardless,
No, normally it's November, but I think it was October that it came out. It did come out a little bit earlier than normal.
regardless that they have Call of Duty, the Call of Duty franchise has a history of kind of yearly releases.
Yeah.
And so it's maybe shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Well, I'm okay. Sorry, I'm not surprised that there's a Call of Duty coming out. I'm surprised it's Modern Warfare 3
Right.
because normally they stick with the Indio.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if this is being made by a different studio to the other one, but you wouldn't think that they would have made Modern Warfare 3 in 12 months.
Yeah, I believe Infinity Ward does all of the Modern Warfare releases, don't they? And Treyarch does all of the other ones.
Yeah. But I think there's been a couple of other studios brought in over recent times, hasn't there?
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, look, November 10th, Modern Warfare 3. It's another one to add to my list because played through all the first ones. Got to play through these ones. To yeah, see the differences and see how they feel.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, that's not really worth talking about. So that will probably take us into The Last of Us, I think. Oh no, two more to go. First one, Baldur's Gate 3, gaining huge traction on Steam.
Yeah.
Over 800,000 concurrent players over the last week. Taking it ninth place on their most played list, concurrent list. Closing in on Hogwarts Legacy, which was huge.
Yeah.
So this shows how big this has been on PC.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the numbers now.
Yep.
And 71,000 recent reviews, overwhelmingly positive. All reviews, 128,000 so far. Very positive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And the way they've done this release as well is quite interesting because they've released on PC first. They actually brought the release date up.
Yeah.
For PC. Because that was good. It was ready to go, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
They pushed back the Xbox version, which I'm not 100% sure if that's got a release date yet. But I know Sony moved their release date for it on PlayStation to the same day that Starfield comes out to try and make up some sales for what they would have lost in Starfield, which pretty smart on the Sony side of things. Try and make sure they get a big release.
Yep.
The pre-orders for the PS5 version have gone through the roof since the PC version came out.
Yeah.
Because it's just free marketing for them now.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like, the fact that this game's been released early and it's doing so well. I watched a couple of streams from the guys at Kind of Funny Games the other day. And they decided to kick a squirrel. And this thing exploded twice. It exploded with blood everywhere when they kicked it, and then when it hit the tree.
Yeah, right.
I kind of want to go play this, but I feel like it's one that I want to do as a group.
Right.
So I don't know if we wait for it to go on to Game Pass, because I believe it is going on Game Pass day one on Xbox when it finally gets there, or whether we look at trying to do it on PlayStation. But I think this is one that we could have some fun.
Yeah, I reckon. I reckon with all these things, if they're on Game Pass, just do it on Game Pass. But yeah, it looks great. And I think maybe
Yeah, well, that's true. Hang on. I don't know what's happened here. Everything's frozen.
right. Are we back? Are we back now? I know why. Yeah, you've dropped from the Discord call. Um, um, okay. Oh, looks like you're back.
Oh,
All right. There we go.
that's putting me straight back into it.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that was the most weirdest and annoying thing that has ever happened. So not only did everything just go black, it has stopped my recording. My capture card is flashing that there's an error. And Discord decided to shut down and then not start again. So this is going to be awesome to edit. And I'll record an apology to go at the start of the show. That'll be tomorrow's job while I'm hungover.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
But yeah, we were saying that we should probably try and do a few of these through Game Pass and stuff like that. So that would involve me setting up my Xbox again.
I just wonder with these games that have staggered releases.
But all right, our last point of the day before we move on to the bracket. Last week we didn't get too much chance to talk about it. We had a deep dive come out for manager and player career modes on FC24.
Yep.
Now, some exciting stuff with this. So we are getting we've got coaches coming in. So we can hire coaches much like we could scouts and stuff like that. And you can move them around to help, speed up and get your tactics across to the players. So if you sign, for instance, a striker, you can move them to look after the guys that are up that end of the field and get them acclimatized to your tactics, your style, all of that sort of stuff pretty quickly. We're also getting pre-match reports, which will be handy, and training off the back of those reports that can help boost the game that the report is about. Thoughts on those points?
Yep. I think they've been...
No sound again.
Right. No?
Hang on, let me check Discord.
Yeah.
No, I got sound on Discord.
Yeah.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolute brilliant.
I can hear and see you fine.
I don't know.
Yeah. Shall I start? No, you've gone completely. Oh, you're rejoining, are you?
Nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Uh,
I can hear
no.
and see you fine.
Try now.
Yep. Is that okay?
What about now?
Yeah, it's all good. I can hear and see you fine. Can you not hear me?
Where's my Discord settings? No, that's all set right. Nah. Oh, nothing.
Right.
You hear me? Oh, so you can hear me. Brilliant. All right. Well, I will finish off what I'm saying about FC24.
Yeah. Why don't
let
you
talk
talk
about
you
any
talk about
points
the
that I've
points?
brought
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and just pretend to just nod
And
along with what I'm
then
saying.
we may record a separate part for the
Right.
bracket over the weekend
Right.
and edit it on.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, so we have, where was I up to? So, yep, you get the training boost. When you're playing in manager mode, you can watch from different points in the ground. So you can have your normal camera mode. You can watch from the stands, or you can watch down there in the coach's technical box and like really immerse yourself in that side. Over on the playing side, there's a new camera mode on, or a new camera angle on that as well that sort of helps a little. Well, I say helps, immerses you a little bit more. They sort of went into how the agents work, and they help you set up goals to play for the club that you want. So if you start down in League Two in England, but you want to play for Real Madrid, your agent will help you set goals and which clubs to go to help get to that point. And there's some cosmetic stuff on that side as well, where, you know, winning trophies gets you a bus parade. And they've actually added the Ballon d'Or this year as well. So, very, very handy. Now, codes went out yesterday for pro clubs, or clubs as it's now called. So we're expecting the deep dive to come through on Monday. So stay tuned for next week's podcast, where we will definitely be going into that in a lot of detail, I would imagine. All right. I will hand you over to Stu, and he can talk about his points on that. And I'll just sit here and nod like I know what he's talking about.
Right. So, I think that they've been trending in this direction for a while, especially with the training scenarios and being able to set up different play styles for your players. You know, you've been able to change a player's position. So, yeah, you've been able to change a player's position and the kind of the weighting of their attributes one way or another for quite a while. So I think that the coaches thing definitely is a direction that they've been going in, and that will just help you to expand on that further. So I think that's great. But it does seem with the manager career and the different camera angles and you know, views from the coach's box and everything from the dugout, that this is going to be quite a different experience potentially, and much more of a true manager career mode experience. Probably not completely what you would get in Football Manager, but starting to go down that way, and I think it's great, to be honest. Player career, I think, you know, like you were talking about with the with the goals and stuff that you can set is pretty good. I hope maybe that we can go a little bit further with what's on offer in the player career, but it seems like finally we're getting a lot of those things that we've been really wanting from career mode and that have been neglected for so long. So fingers crossed we get some similar announcements with the club's deep dive in the coming week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we do, because clubs has been, or pro clubs as we've known it, has been neglected for has been neglected
I
for
mean,
so
you can
long.
hear me, but I just can't hear you.
Yeah. Clubs has been neglected for so long now, so fingers crossed we get similarly positive treatment.
Oh, hang on. Just to make it even better, I think we have a visitor.
Ah.
Can we say hello? It's all right. I can't hear Uncle still either, so it's all good. What are you doing? Are you done now? You just want to come say hello? Oh, was that in your back? Okay. Yeah, it's Uncle
Hello.
Steve. No, don't turn that off. I can't hear everyone. They need to be able to hear me, though. No! Stop touching things! Okay. Well, you might as well have them, because they're making no difference to me. All right. We're going to leave it there. We will record the bracket over the weekend separately once we get all this sorted out, because knows what's happened. So until then, adios.
See you later.